Most videos about gemstones focus on warnings, what not to buy, what to avoid, and which stones have lost their value. But in 2026, something different is happening. Quietly behind the scenes, experts across gemology, geology, and the collector market have begun pointing to a new group of stones. Stones that aren't driven by hype, trend cycles, or internet speculation. These are gems with real geological rarity, authentic color, natural identity, and most importantly, value that comes from the earth, not from marketing. Some of the stones on this list appear only in small pockets of the world. Some are never treated, never enhanced, never corrected, and a few are so consistently stable that experts now recommend them more in 2026 than ever before. And the stone ranked number 1, the top expert-approved choice of 2026, has quietly risen from centuries of misidentification to become one of the most trusted natural gems in today's market. If you care about authentic rarity, hidden value, and stones that age gracefully, you're in the right place. Let's begin with number 10. Ranked 10th, Petalite. Clear, untreated, and quietly rare. Petalite belongs to a category of gemstones that rarely demand attention, yet consistently reward those who understand geological honesty. While many stones rise and fall according to fashion, Petalite remains anchored in a truth that collectors appreciate more with each passing decade. Real beauty does not always need color to be compelling. Some gems shine because of bold saturation or dramatic dispersion. Petalite stands out because of its purity. Formed deep within ancient pegmatite systems, Petalite develops under geological conditions that allow an unusual level of clarity so serene that high-grade crystals often resemble condensed droplets of natural glass. Under controlled light, Petalite reveals a quiet internal radiance, soft, steady, and unmistakably natural. Specialists describe it as quiet brilliance, a visual quality that rewards a calm eye rather than a hurried glance. Another defining strength of Petalite is its integrity. In a market increasingly shaped by treatments, heating, irradiation, diffusion, Petalite remains almost entirely untouched. Fine stones emerge from the earth in the exact state collectors admire: clean, honest, and authentic. The absence of enhancement gives Petalite an advantage few modern gemstones can claim. It is straightforward, trustworthy, and valued for what it is, not for what laboratories force it to become. Supply, however, is not keeping up with interest. Pegmatite sources in Brazil, Namibia, and Madagascar have shifted toward industrial lithium production, leaving gemstone-quality Petalite as a rare byproduct rather than a consistent output. Over the past decade, this shift has gradually transformed Petalite from overlooked mineral into a genuinely scarce collector stone. High-clarity material now appears in shorter cycles, often traded privately among individuals who recognize its long-term potential. When cut, Petalite reveals yet another subtle strength. It doesn't explode with fire like diamond or scatter neon flashes like Sphene. Instead, it glows. Faceted Petalite carries a gentle, atmospheric luminosity that feels calm and deliberate, an aesthetic that appeals to collectors who favor purity over spectacle. Its visual identity is understated, but unmistakably natural. A quick question for you before we go further. Here's a small question for you, one that helps reveal the kind of eye each viewer brings to this list. Did Petalite surprise you? Comment yes if you've heard of it before, or no if this is your first time seeing this quietly rare stone. This helps highlight how many people actually recognize these overlooked gems. For collectors seeking hidden value in 2026, Petalite offers a rare combination: minimal treatment, true geological scarcity, stable pricing, and a visual character that feels untouched by commercial trends. It may never fill jewelry showcases, but among experts who value authenticity and long-term rarity, Petalite continues to rise quietly, steadily, and without the need for hype. And if you think a clear gemstone has limited potential, the next one challenges that idea entirely. Ranked 9th, Danburite. Diamond-like brilliance without the drama. There are gemstones that catch the eye immediately, and then there are gemstones that challenge the way brilliance is understood. Danburite belongs to the second category. Instead of drawing attention through color or rarity, it impresses through structural precision, the kind of internal architecture that turns simple white light into something unexpectedly refined. For experts who study gemstones through the lens of physics rather than fashion, Danburite stands out as one of the clearest examples of how crystal symmetry can outperform expectation. Its origin tells part of the story. Danburite forms in environments shaped by intense pressure and persistent heat, conditions that encourage the development of elongated, highly ordered crystals. These internal pathways allow light to travel with almost uninterrupted efficiency, creating a crisp luminance that feels more engineered than organic. When properly cut, Danburite releases a controlled, deliberate sparkle, sharp linear flashes that mirror the discipline of a well-cut diamond. But unlike diamond, Danburite carries none of the emotional weight or commercial noise that often surrounds that iconic stone. There is no price inflation built from rituals, symbolism, or advertising. Instead, Danburite presents its qualities plainly: transparent, brilliant, and consistently natural. Its lack of treatment is one of its greatest advantages. Nearly all fine specimens reach the market in the same condition they were mined: untouched, unheated, and unaltered. In the 2026 gemstone landscape, where authenticity matters more each year, this alone elevates Danburite far above many mainstream options. Durability adds another layer of appeal. Despite its refined appearance, Danburite maintains a surprising resilience, with a structural stability that makes it viable for both collectors and jewelry wearers. It tolerates handling, temperature changes, and prolonged light exposure better than many expect. This combination, clarity, strength, and honesty, has helped secure Danburite a quiet but loyal following among professionals who value stones that behave predictably over time. The market aspect is equally compelling. Supply from Mexico and Myanmar continues at modest levels, but demand has not yet caught up to the stone's optical potential. This creates a rare scenario in which a gem offers performance comparable to far more expensive stones, yet remains accessible. Experts recognize this imbalance: brilliance without hype, rarity without speculation, and increasingly recommend Danburite to collectors looking for value grounded in geological fact rather than trend cycles. This is where preferences often surprise me, so tell me this. If you saw Danburite and diamond side by side, which one would you choose? Danburite or diamond? Share your pick in the comments. This comparison often surprises viewers and sparks genuinely interesting discussion. Danburite proves that brilliance doesn't need symbolism or spectacle, only a crystal built with precision and clarity. Ranked 8th, high-grade Scapolite. Harder to find than people realize. Among the many minerals shaped inside ancient metamorphic terrains, Scapolite rarely receives the attention its geological journey deserves. Its story begins in places where heat, pressure, and chemical transformation occur slowly and relentlessly. Conditions that give rise to a gemstone capable of holding light in an unusually disciplined way. High-grade Scapolite is not defined by fame or trend. It is defined by scarcity at the level of formation itself. What sets fine Scapolite apart is its combination of clarity, structure, and color stability. Yellow and violet varieties, the most sought after, develop only when the host rock undergoes a very specific chemical exchange involving chloride and carbonate components. If even one part of that process shifts, Scapolite forms imperfectly, or doesn't form at all. This geological precision is the reason high-quality crystals appear in such small numbers, even in regions where the mineral is technically present. Under light, clean Scapolite displays a kind of brightness that feels almost architectural, straight, orderly reflections that give the gem a confident presence without overwhelming the viewer. In fine specimens, internal zoning is minimal, inclusions are sparse, and the color carries a gentle but unmistakable depth. Specialists often describe high-grade Scapolite as unexpectedly elegant because its appearance contradicts the quiet reputation it has carried for decades. One of the overlooked advantages of Scapolite is its authenticity. While other yellow and violet gemstones often depend on heat or irradiation to perfect their color, Scapolite typically reaches the market in a near-natural state. Treatments do exist, But the stones valued by experts come from pockets where color is stable from the moment the crystal is unearthed. This purity has started to matter more in 2026, as collectors gravitate toward gems whose identities are shaped by geology rather than laboratories. Its scarcity becomes even clearer when looking at supply. Tanzania, Madagascar, and parts of Burma remain the primary sources, yet only a small fraction of mined material meets high-grade standards. The rest is either too included, too pale, or too unstable in color. True collector-level scapolite, clean, saturated, and properly cut, appears in the market in quantities far smaller than most people assume. In fact, for every 10 tourmalines or garnets of collector quality, perhaps one scapolite of equivalent grade surfaces. Pricing, however, has yet to fully reflect this imbalance. Scapolite remains undervalued, sitting in a unique crossroads where rarity exceeds recognition. This is why experts quietly identify it as one of the smarter under-the-radar acquisitions in 2026. A stone with natural scarcity, stable color, genuine beauty, and minimal marketplace attention. Collectors rarely agree on this next part, and I'm curious about you. Between yellow scapolite and violet scapolite, which color do you find more striking? Leave your choice in the comments. This simple preference question increases engagement and highlights how different audiences perceive rarity. For those who look beyond mainstream trends, scapolite offers a rarity that reveals itself only to eyes willing to look closer. Rank 7th, Grandidierite, the overlooked blue-green rarity. There are gemstones whose colors seem to echo the landscapes they come from. Grandidierite is one of them. Its distinct blue-green hue, neither entirely oceanic nor entirely terrestrial, carries the character of the remote environments where it forms. Most fine specimens trace their origin to the rugged terrains of Madagascar, where tectonic pressure and mineral-rich fluids produce one of the rarest color signatures found in the mineral world. What makes high-quality Grandidierite remarkable is not simply its color, but how that color interacts with the internal structure of the crystal. In exceptional pieces, layers of iron and magnesium bond in a way that generates a translucent to semi-lucid glow, giving the gem a depth that feels almost atmospheric. Under the right light, Grandidierite doesn't shimmer. It radiates softly, as if lit from within. Experts describe the finest examples as possessing a blue-green haze, a uniquely balanced tone that is difficult to replicate in any other mineral. Clarity is the challenge. Most Grandidierite found in nature is opaque or heavily included, which limits its potential for cutting. This is why transparent or near-transparent specimens belong to an elite category, fewer than a small fraction of total production. Even in Madagascar's most respected mining zones, months can pass without a single crystal clean enough to facet. And when such stones do appear, they often move quickly among collectors who have studied this mineral long enough to recognize its long-term significance. Unlike more commercial gemstones, Grandidierite does not undergo treatment. Its color is natural, its clarity authentic, and its appearance unchanged from the moment it leaves the earth. This purity has become a major point of interest in recent years. As collectors shift towards stones whose identities are shaped entirely by geology, Grandidierite stands out as a gem whose rarity is not constructed by marketing, but established by nature. The market for Grandidierite remains small, yet steadily evolving. Transparent stones of even modest size command respect, while larger high-clarity pieces enter private collections almost immediately. Prices reflect genuine scarcity rather than speculation, and the stone's unique color palette sets it apart from aquamarine, tourmaline, and other blue-green minerals. Specialists quietly identify Grandidierite as one of the few gemstones where rarity and authenticity align perfectly. Here's something fascinating about perception. Let me ask you, when you look at Grandidierite, do you see more blue or more green? Comment your answer. Blue or green? This simple perception question sparks meaningful engagement without requiring gemological knowledge. In a market where clarity, treatment, and sourcing increasingly shape collector decisions, Grandidierite occupies a rare intersection, genuinely scarce, visually distinctive, and scientifically fascinating. Its blue-green identity is not only beautiful, it is a visual reminder of how complex, demanding, and extraordinary Earth's mineral processes can be. But rarity doesn't always appear in bold colors. Sometimes it hides behind the quiet chemistry of a mineral most collectors overlook. Ranked 6th, Londonite, yellow baryte with quiet collector demand. Londonite occupies a rare and scientifically intriguing place within the baryte family. A mineral whose identity is shaped not by bold aesthetics, but by an unusual chemical formula that immediately draws the attention of seasoned collectors. Found primarily in Madagascar, Londonite develops under conditions that favor boron-rich fluids interacting with aluminum and cesium, creating a mineralogical environment few gemstones share. This chemistry alone sets Londonite apart from more conventional yellowstones. At first glance, its appearance may seem subtle. Londonite rarely exhibits the saturated yellows seen in heliodor or sphalerite. Instead, its color tends toward a refined, pastel-toned warmth, soft, even, and balanced. What makes fine Londonite compelling is its combination of delicate color and remarkable internal consistency. High-grade pieces often show an almost glass-like homogeneity with minimal zoning and a clarity level that reflects the precision of their geological formation. Specialists often compare its appearance to frozen sunlight, gentle, stable, and unexpectedly elegant. One of Londonite's defining traits is its purity in the marketplace. Because it forms in such specific geological conditions, supply is inherently limited, and treatment is virtually non-existent. The stone's subtle character has protected it from mass-market manipulation. No heat enhancements, no irradiation, no diffusion, nothing that would obscure its natural identity. For collectors who seek gemstones unaffected by human intervention, Londonite stands as one of the clearest choices among barytes. The rarity of faceable material further elevates its status. Most Londonite crystals are small, irregular, or too included to polish into gemstones. Larger, cleaner crystals are uncommon, and pieces that meet collector-level transparency are rarer still. This scarcity is not the result of marketing, but of geology. The mineral forms in pockets where conditions quickly fluctuate, making stable crystal development difficult. As a result, even modestly sized stones attract the attention of connoisseurs familiar with the mineral's constraints. Demand for Londonite has remained steady and quiet, driven less by trends and more by those who focus on niche mineral families. It appeals to collectors who understand borate chemistry, pegmatite formation, and the inherent value of minerals that resist commercial overexposure. In 2026, this understated demand positions Londonite as a genuinely hidden value stone, rare enough to appreciate, but not so famous that prices inflate beyond reason. Different viewers respond to this stone in completely different ways. Does Londonite's soft yellow color feel more elegant or more ordinary to you? Comment elegant or ordinary. This perception-based question encourages viewers to examine their emotional response without needing gemological knowledge. Londonite's appeal isn't loud or dramatic. It lies in understatement, in clean chemistry, and in a calm yellow that feels timelessly refined. From subtle warmth, we move to a stone forged under conditions far more intense. Ranked 5th, Clinohumite, SPINEL's fiery relative. Among the minerals shaped in the deepest, most pressurized environments of the Earth's crust, Clinohumite occupies a place of unusual significance. Unlike many gemstones that form quietly within pegmatites or hydrothermal systems, Clinohumite emerges only when intense heat and pressure transform magnesium-rich rocks into something entirely new. This makes the gem not just rare, but geologically demanding, a mineral whose very existence speaks to extreme conditions far beneath the surface. Clinohumite is chemically related to olivine and structurally associated with SPINEL, which explains its remarkable resilience and its characteristic warm glow. While SPINEL expresses its beauty through clarity and saturation, Clinohumite reveals itself differently. Fine specimens display rich orange, honey, or amber tones, colors reminiscent of molten rock cooling in the dim light of a volcanic chamber. This fiery palette is not dramatic in a commercial sense. Instead, it feels ancient, deep, and elemental. Clarity in Clinohumite is notoriously difficult to find. Most crystals recovered from Tajikistan, Tanzania, or the Pamir region appear clouded, fractured, or heavily included. For this reason, even small transparent stones are considered exceptional. When cutters encounter a crystal clean enough to facet, they work with extreme care. Clinohumite rewards patience but punishes mistakes. The resulting gemstones often display a subtle internal glow, a fusion of transparency and warmth that gemologists describe as ember-like luminosity. One of Clinohumite's most compelling traits is its honesty. It is almost never treated. No heating, no irradiation, no enhancement to push its color towards something it is not. The stone arrives to the collector in the same condition it formed millions of years ago, shaped solely by tectonic forces. In an era where many yellow and orange stones on the market have been altered to intensify their color, Clinohumite's natural identity gives it a distinctive advantage. Supply is another factor that cements its position on this list. Deposits capable of producing gem-quality clinohumite are extremely limited, and production has never been consistent. Mining is often incidental to other mineral pursuits, and there are no large-scale operations dedicated solely to this stone. As a result, the number of fine pieces entering the market each year is far lower than what most collectors assume. This scarcity is real, structural, and unlikely to change. Market demand for clinohumite remains controlled but steady. It appeals to collectors who appreciate geological rarity rather than commercial glitter. Those who understand that value can come from minerals born under extreme conditions, not only those polished by marketing. In 2026, its position as an undervalued relative of SPINEL places it uniquely between scientific intrigue and aesthetic charm. Let's pause for a moment, because this reaction says a lot about taste. Does clinohumite's fiery glow remind you more of amber or more of citrine? Comment your pick, amber or citrine. This simple comparison invites viewers to connect with the gem through color association rather than technical knowledge. Born from deep geological heat, clinohumite carries a glow that feels ancient and elemental. The kind of warmth only Earth itself can forge. Ranked fourth. Sphene. Dispersion that rivals diamonds. Sphene, known to mineralogists as titanite, is one of the few gemstones that can unsettle even experienced collectors the first time they see it under direct light. Its most famous characteristic, dispersion, is not just strong, it is extreme. When light enters a well-cut sphene, it splits into spectral colors with an intensity that surpasses diamonds by a significant margin. In the gem world, very few minerals can produce this level of optical fireworks, and even fewer do so while maintaining their natural identity. What makes Sphene so visually powerful is the combination of its high refractive index and unusually high birefringence. Light not only bends dramatically as it enters the crystal, it also splits and exits along two separate pathways, each carrying its own spectral signature. Under proper illumination, the result is a cascade of reds, greens, yellows, and blues flickering simultaneously across the stone's facets. Experts often describe this effect as rainbow fire, an optical event so vivid that even small stones can appear electrically charged. But Sphene's brilliance comes with geological honesty. While some gems rely on treatments to enhance or intensify color, Sphene is almost always left untouched. Its greens, ranging from olive to chartreuse, are natural products of trace elements like iron. Even the honey and reddish varieties owe their tones to the complex interplay of titanium within the crystal structure. This untreated authenticity contributes to Sphene's growing reputation as one of the most transparent examples of nature's optical engineering. Clarity, however, is rare. Most Sphene found in Pakistan, Madagascar, and Brazil carries inclusions, internal fractures, or fibrous textures that limit its optical performance. Only a small percentage of rough material possesses the transparency necessary to achieve full dispersion. Larger, clean stones are exceptionally uncommon, and cutters must work with precision. The gem's softness and cleavage make careless shaping nearly impossible. Those who specialize in Sphene facetting often refer to it as a stone that rewards patience and punishes haste. Market demand for Sphene is unique. It is not a mainstream gem, and it has never been part of commercial jewelry trends. Yet among specialists and collectors who prioritize optical science over brand recognition, Sphene holds an almost magnetic appeal. The stone bridges two worlds, the raw physics of light dispersion and the artistry of precise cutting. In 2026, this combination positions Sphene as a high-value rarity with a devoted but understated following. People are often split on this, and I'd love to hear your view. If you saw Sphene's rainbow fire in person, would you describe it as beautiful or too intense? Comment beautiful or too intense. This helps viewers reflect on their reaction without requiring technical knowledge. Sphene remains one of nature's most striking demonstrations of what happens when light meets a perfectly engineered crystal. Its dispersion isn't subtle, it's explosive, scientific, and unforgettable. A reminder that some of the Earth's finest gems shine through pure physics alone. If Sphene reveals what light can do, the next gemstone shows what color can become. Rank third, high-end Tourmaline, color you can actually invest in. Tourmaline is often described as the most versatile color gemstone on Earth, but versatility alone doesn't make a gem investment worthy. What sets high-end Tourmaline apart in 2026 is the combination of color integrity, geological scarcity, and a clarity profile that becomes dramatically rarer the higher the quality rises. Many gems offer color. Very few offer color that holds value, and Tourmaline sits firmly in that category. The structure of Tourmaline allows trace elements to shape its color with remarkable precision. Iron, manganese, and lithium all play roles in producing blues, greens, pinks, reds, and the vivid blends that collectors admire. But the stones that specialists recommend most strongly are the ones showing pure, undiluted color, tones that remain stable under different lighting conditions and express themselves with natural confidence. Tourmaline's most compelling feature, however, is its ability to display color with unusual depth. When a fine crystal is cut properly, light seems to travel through the gem rather than across it. The result is a saturation that feels built from the inside out, a kind of inner glow that separates high-end Tourmaline from more common varieties. Stones like this show a balance between tone and transparency that is exceptionally hard to achieve. Clarity is one of the biggest challenges. Tourmaline grows in elongated crystals that often develop stress fractures or internal veils. Clean stones of strong saturation are far rarer than most buyers realize. Even in mining regions known for tourmaline, Brazil, Mozambique, Nigeria, only a small portion of production reaches collector quality. When such stones appear, they are quickly absorbed into the market by buyers who understand how steep the rarity curve becomes at higher grades. Cutting plays a crucial role as well. Because tourmaline crystals can be long and narrow, cutters must decide how to position the gem to highlight its strongest axis of color. A poorly executed cut can make even valuable material appear flat or diluted. But when cut correctly, a fine tourmaline showcases color that feels architectural, precise, dimensional, and full of character. Another advantage is treatment transparency. While certain lower-grade stones may be heated, the high-end material sought by collectors is almost always valued in its natural state. This makes tourmaline one of the few color-rich gemstones whose top-tier examples require no enhancement. In a world where authenticity is increasingly prized, this matters. Tourmaline's value has climbed steadily over the past decade, not because of hype, but because supply has tightened while collector understanding has matured. It offers one of the clearest combinations of beauty, rarity, and long-term stability, making it a stone you can appreciate visually and rely on structurally. High-end tourmaline doesn't shout for attention. It rewards those who know what they're looking at. And in 2026, that combination of natural color, clean geology, and lasting desirability is exactly why experts place it near the top of their recommended list. Ranked second, Alexandrite, the scientist's favorite investment gem. Few gemstones challenge perception the way Alexandrite does. Where most stones exist within a single color identity, Alexandrite shifts dramatically depending on the light source, a phenomenon so striking that it has been studied more by physicists and mineralogists than by traditional jewelers. This ability to transform from green or blue-green in daylight to red or violet red under warm indoor lighting makes Alexandrite one of the most intellectually fascinating gemstones ever discovered. The secret lies in the structure of its chrysoberyl host and the presence of chromium ions, which absorb and reflect light differently depending on wavelength. Under sunlight, the gem expresses cooler tones, but under incandescent light, a different set of wavelengths dominates, causing the stone to appear red. This is not a trick of the eye or an optical illusion. It is a measurable shift in how the mineral interacts with the full spectrum of visible light. For scientists, Alexandrite represents one of nature's clearest demonstrations of selective absorption. For collectors, it represents rarity of the highest order. But not all Alexandrite is created equal. The stones that earn expert recommendation in 2026 share one critical trait: a strong, decisive color change. Weak or partial transitions, those that shift only slightly or require perfect lighting to reveal, do not hold the same value. The finest stones transition boldly, even in imperfect lighting, showing a clear difference between their daylight and incandescent identities. These pieces command a level of respect that goes beyond size, origin, or saturation. Sources add another layer of complexity. Historically, Russia produced the most celebrated Alexandrite, but production there has dwindled to almost nothing. Today, Sri Lanka, Brazil, and East Africa provide the majority of fine stones, though the strongest color change material remains rare. Mining yields are modest, and competition among collectors for top specimens is consistent and intense. This combination, true rarity, scientific uniqueness, and global demand, has kept Alexandrite stable even in volatile markets. One of the most overlooked aspects of Alexandrite is its emotional effect. Viewers often describe a sense of disbelief when watching the stone shift in real time. It feels alive, responsive, almost conscious in the way it changes under different lighting conditions. This element of surprise makes Alexandrite particularly memorable. And in a market where storytelling influences value, few gems offer a narrative as naturally compelling. In 2026, experts continue to regard Alexandrite as one of the strongest long-term holds in the colored stone world. Not because of hype, but because of the stone's intrinsic properties: rarity, physics, and psychological impact. This is a fun one, because people always choose differently here. Which version of Alexandrite appeals more to you? Its daylight color or its indoor color? Comment daylight or indoor. This encourages viewers to engage based on emotion, not technical expertise. Alexandrite remains one of the few gems that can captivate the mind as easily as the eye. Its transformation is not just visual, it is scientific, dramatic, and deeply personal, making it a favorite among experts who search for gemstones with both intellectual depth and lasting value. And before unveiling the top pick of 2026, here's the stone that has quietly earned more expert approval than any other. In first place, SPINEL, rare colors, cobalt, lavender, gray violet. The most expert-approved stone of 2026. SPINEL has spent centuries in the background of gemstone history, often mistaken for other stones, and rarely acknowledged for its own identity. Yet in recent decades, as gemology has sharpened and collectors have become more informed, SPINEL has risen from obscurity to become one of the most respected natural gemstones on Earth. And in 2026, no stone receives stronger expert approval, especially in its rarest colors: cobalt blue, lavender, and gray violet. What sets high-quality SPINEL apart is its purity. Unlike many gemstones that depend on treatments to correct color, clarity, or saturation, SPINEL is almost always untouched. No heat, no irradiation, no diffusion. Its colors emerge directly from the crystal lattice, shaped solely by trace elements like cobalt, chromium, and iron. This natural integrity is priceless in a market increasingly dominated by enhancements. With SPINEL, what the viewer sees is exact, unaltered geology. Among its many color varieties, cobalt SPINEL stands at the top. It displays a type of blue that is both vivid and deep, often compared to the finest sapphires, yet with a luminosity that feels cleaner and more open. True cobalt specimens, especially those from Vietnam and Myanmar, are exceptionally rare. Clean stones above even 1 carat are almost never found on the open market and typically move through private collector channels. Lavender SPINEL offers a different appeal. Its color sits in a calm, ethereal spectrum that few gemstones can replicate. Soft but unmistakable, lavender SPINEL glows with an internal light that feels almost atmospheric. Fine stones can appear as if a soft cloud of color has been suspended inside the crystal, giving them a serenity that collectors deeply appreciate. Gray violet SPINEL, meanwhile, represents a palette increasingly sought after in 2026. It is understated, modern, and incredibly sophisticated. These stones reveal their personality gradually. Under bright light, hints of violet emerge. In softer light, cooler steely tones dominate. This chameleon-like subtlety appeals strongly to collectors who prefer refined color over intensity. SPINEL's clarity is another advantage. While many gemstones develop inclusions as they grow, SPINEL often forms with remarkable internal cleanliness. When this clarity combines with proper cutting, the gem displays a crisp brilliance that rivals far more expensive stones. Supply, however, continues to shrink. Mining in Myanmar has slowed, and production from Tanzania and Vietnam remains unpredictable. Many sources that once yielded fine material are exhausted or operate only intermittently. This supply pressure has made SPINEL not just desirable, but structurally rare. Its scarcity backed by geology, not by hype. What makes SPINEL the most expert-approved gemstone of 2026 is its combination of pure natural color, zero treatment, high clarity, increasing rarity, strong, educated collector demand, market stability without volatility. Few gemstones can check all of these boxes at once. And for the final stone on this list, I want your honest instinct. Which rare SPINEL color speaks to you the most? Cobalt, lavender, or gray violet? Comment your choice below. SPINEL's rise is not an accident. It is the result of centuries of misidentification finally giving way to recognition. Recognition that this gemstone in its purest colors stands among the finest natural creations the mineral world has to offer. The gemstones in this list earned their place for one reason. Each of them carries value that comes from the earth itself, not from trends, hype, or temporary excitement. Whether through natural clarity, rare chemistry, honest color, or geological scarcity, they represent the kind of beauty that remains long after the crowd moves on. In a market where so many stones rise and fall every year, these gems hold steady, not because someone advertises them, but because their qualities can stand on their own. And now I'd like to hear from you. Which gemstone on this list stayed with you the longest? The one that surprised you, or the one you choose for your own collection? Tell me in the comments. Your perspective helps shape the next episode. If you enjoyed this journey into real rarity and hidden value, make sure to subscribe for more stories from the world beneath our feet, where every color, every crystal, and every formation has a story worth telling. Thank you for watching. Let's see what the earth reveals next.